Hey, everybody. We are live. I am Chris Gore from Film Threat. How are you doing? I just got out of a screening of The Batman at the AMC Burbank. I am now back home, and I'm about to be joined by my colleague, Alan, the editor-in-chief of Film Threat. And I have a lot of thoughts about The Batman, but I'm happy to introduce a new show that we're doing. It's called Hollywood on the Rocks. It's our late night show where we're gonna get together. We're gonna have some drinks. So go grab a beverage of your choice right now. I'll be drinking out of this tonight, and let's get ready as we talk about The Batman. Here we go. Welcome,
Hey.
Alan.
There I am.
Welcome, Alan. Our first voyage on the Hollywood on the Rocks show.
Yeah.
And you, like me, just saw The Batman. I just want to launch right into it. I want to let everybody know that we are going to be talking about The Batman, mostly spoiler free. We may get to a point where it's impossible to not discuss spoilers, and I would say most of the spoilers take place in the second half of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the part of the film I have the most problems with, but we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about all of it. So join us in the chat, and let's see who's here. We've got Adam Gray, Dane Fagerholm, Carlos Branca, Holly Weirdland. Thank you for joining us. Drop your questions, comments in the chat. Thank you for joining us, MacGyver.
Oh, MacGyver's here.
MacGyver is here. That's great. So Alan and I both just saw the IMAX early screening, the fan screening.
I got a book of NFTs.
Yeah, did you get are we supposed to get an NFT? I don't know.
I think you are, because you saw it at AMC. And I think they'll send it to you in 2 days, something like that.
Well, we both got this comic book. It's a Batman The Long Halloween, issue 1. It is, I would say that The Batman is loosely based on this, or I would just say inspired by. I think it's inspired by
the art direction, at least.
Yeah, I mean, just the look of it. But let's kick it off right away. So, Satan West from Tuesday night's main event. They said it's good. It is, and I have issues. So let's get into it. Alan, I want to ask you straight up, first impressions of The Batman.
First impression, I liked it. And I'll qualify. It's good, and I think it's on a high end of good. But I'm not, it doesn't strike me like the other Batmans. But I do appreciate the story direction it goes. This is, it feels very much like it's a Matt Reeves' take on the Batman. And much in the same way as Frank Miller's take with Dark Knight Returns. It's his version, and I appreciate it. I like the fact that Batman's just a guy in a suit, and it's less of the fantastical. It's much more grounded. It's very I would call it harkens back to film noir, takes us back to the old detective comics. That's the feel I get from it, and I appreciate the fresh take on it. Yes, there we go, detective comics.
Issue 27.
I think it's a fresh take, and I'm on board with it. I think people, if you're expecting the Batman we've gotten in the past, you're not going to get that here.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you liked it. My first impressions, I liked the first half of the movie. I would say that the first half of the film is nearly flawless.
Yeah, I sort of wish it ended at the first half, though.
Right. Well, we'll get into that. Yeah. We'll get into that, and we're going to let people know at a point where I believe that there are spoilers which could ruin the experience. Mm-hmm. But I want to talk about the things that I liked about the film first, straight up. Maybe the best incarnation of Batman on screen. Robert Pattinson really knocks it out of the park as a younger, kind of learning the ropes. He's kind of learning to be Batman. What I do like about it is he's a more human Batman in the sense that he gets hurt, like he gets injured. He fails at certain tasks.
He's not the pretty boy either.
Yeah, he's not. Well, yeah, I think that they uglied him down, as Bruce Wayne. But
Yeah.
what really worked is, the fight choreography
Mhm.
was incredible. Like, this is a Batman that we've only seen in the comics. And with all due respect to Christopher Nolan, some of his action scenes kind of fell flat. And some of the choreography, was not, not what we saw. I mean, Zack Snyder gave us a glimpse in Batman v Superman. In particular, there's the one scene where he takes out the men that are holding Martha hostage. That scene is incredible in Batman v
Mhm.
Superman. And I would say that the scenes with Robert Pattinson doing Batman stuff
Mhm.
better than we've ever seen on screen.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And
Let's
and
go
it doesn't feel like giant set pieces, these giant action
right.
set pieces. It feels like the action happens because, well, that's what would happen in that situation.
Exactly. And then also let's talk about, like, the actors are amazing. Like, this
Yeah.
cast. Okay.
I mean,
Robert
I
Pattinson.
spent the entire movie trying to figure out where's Colin Farrell in this movie.
Yeah, well, he really is certainly, like, absorbed in this penguin role. I
Yeah.
mean, it's weird because I'm looking and going, where is the makeup? Like, that's Colin Farrell. It doesn't sound, where's the accent, But
Yeah.
he's great. Zoe Kravitz is an
Mm.
incredible Catwoman. And anyone complaining that, like, oh, they race swap Catwoman has been, it doesn't matter. Catwoman is a love interest for Batman, but also we've had Eartha Kitt played Catwoman, of course, in the 1966 Adam West Batman television series, right? This so
Halle
that
Berry.
that what's that?
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry, of course, yeah. So Zoe Kravitz is just, there's something about the way she moves her body. Here's how I know an actor is super into a role, and I'm watching all these performances. The way an actor walks when they are that character, the way Zoe Kravitz walked is not how she's walked in other roles, like Big Little Lies. Uh, I don't know if you've seen that show.
No, I haven't.
Um, there's a specific walk that Robert Pattinson does when he's as Batman, which is enhanced by the sound design, where you hear these, like, almost haunting, like, boots hitting the ground, and like a very
Mhm.
like a thud with a bass. It's scary, right? I mean,
Oh,
Batman is scary in this because he's, the way Robert Pattinson portrays him, he's completely unhinged.
I will say
And that really works.
the first appearance of Batman, the walk seemed a little awkward and goofy to me a bit. But that was just that opening moment. I don't know if you
Yeah.
caught that, but
No, it worked. It worked. I think the sound really,
the
really
sound
made it.
helped. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course Colin Farrell as the Penguin, Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. Um, what bothered me a little bit, minor quibble. I mean, maybe I should save the quibbles to a certain part. Let me get through the
Yeah.
stuff that I really like. The other things I really loved were the practical nature, right? Like,
Mhm.
he's got gadgets, but they're all, like, just stuff you can buy and or make. I mean, it's
Well,
stuff that exists. I mean, he
yeah.
sort of has, like, a taser that's kind of built into his outfit. It's stuff that's modified, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Modified and or off the shelf stuff. You can get all these things, right? And the way that the bat emblem is used, we've not seen in any other Batman film. So I really like that aspect. So the gadgets, and it's grounded in a reality.
Mhm.
The Batcave, and this has been reported before, that the Batcave is kind of an adjunct to a subway that's unused, that goes directly to Wayne Manor. The other thing was just and also Alfred,
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, again, just, like, spot on, like, every character. And there are a lot of great side characters, like certain corrupt cops and other criminals in this underworld. It really is it's a film
Yeah.
noir. It is a detective story,
Yeah.
which, by the way, just so nobody thinks I actually have a copy, because if I had a copy of Detective Comics number
Yeah.
27,
That would be in plastic right now.
it would be in, like,
In the acrylic case.
right, acrylic. It would be like it would be locked up. But this is a reprint that I got years ago. That's what's cool about it, is it has all the original ads.
Oh wow.
It has all the original ads that were in, and the first issue of Detective, or the first appearance of Batman in Detective Comics. He's not in the whole comic. he's just sort of one story. It's kind of an anthology thing. But I'm
We have an
terrified.
important question. Nipples on the bat suit. Are we gonna say that for spoilers?
Let's save it for, first of all, there are no nipples on the bat suit. But I'd like to hold. I'm going to hold your comments and questions for after we get through some of this. So, but there's just so much to love. The look, the way that the music is used, the tone. This is a thing. This is the director's job more than any other job, is to tone police the movie, right? And for the first half, it is this mystery that's unfolding with the Riddler and riddles and the way that those are solved. I do love, I'm not going to give any away, but the way that some of the riddles are solved and what the solutions are, they're very clever. The other thing I like is, and other people have pointed out, other critics have pointed out, that there's no sense of humor in the movie. And I disagree. There aren't any jokes. There's no quippy lines like, "Oh, you're real baddie." Like, that's not in it. There's not like there's nothing cheesy. There are laughs because of the ridiculousness of certain things that happen. And Commissioner Gordon and Batman have this bond. Although the thing that did bother me a little bit is I felt that there was character development was a little lacking. How did they form that bond? Could there have been a throwaway line of how they first met, or just something about, like, why are they so close, right? Like,
I think there's an assumption you have to come in that because you've known in the past that Commissioner Gordon and Bruce Batman are good friends, that just carries into this one. I think those are those moments where you just have to assume it going in.
Yeah, and there's no flashback to a origin story. He's just, year 2. This is Batman year 2. And if you've ever read the Batman year 1 comics, year 2 comics, that's there's a lot of inspiration drawn from, a lot of incarnations of Batman, Long Halloween being among them. And I like that. I mean, Christopher Nolan did the same thing. He sort of borrowed things here and there, added his own ideas. There's an interesting concept where Batman has these contact lenses that record certain events so he can look at things, look at documents and whatnot. He's kind of recording with these special contact lenses. So I thought that was clever.
Yeah.
And what I do like about every incarnation of Batman, right, from the 66 Batman TV series to the 89 Batman, the Joel Schumacher Batmans, those are the ones that are the tragedies, in my opinion. And then you got to the Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. Each of them kind of add a new layer or something new to the mythos. So we'll get into that. There's so much that I loved. The first half of the movie, nearly just flawless. I'm there. What's going on with the Riddler? How is he sort of like he's 2-3 steps ahead of Batman, leading him along. The other thing I'll say before, and we will get to your comments in just a second, but I want to end on this point and get your comment on this, Alan. This is an R-rated Batman movie, like straight up. I mean, I know it's rated PG-13, and that's because the major studios have clout. They can kind of dictate with the MPAA where they like the film to fall. Now, is it a hard R? No. But this movie, it is rated what would be the R rating equivalent in the UK. And I would just say, just as a parent, I mean, my kids are grown up, right? So they can just they're gonna go see this movie. But this is an R-rated movie, and I don't know that I would take a kid probably under 12 or 13. I think that it's maybe even like there's just some things that are really disturbing. I mean, I actually don't know if there's a fast food tie-in. I mean, I should know that because I'm in a room filled with all kinds of Batman stuff. This whole corner here is just Batman. There's more Batman stuff here. I should know that, but this movie feels like an R-rated movie. Straight up, this is R-rated.
Yeah. See, I think I'm going to disagree with you there. It didn't feel extra violent to me. It didn't feel, I don't. there
Not
was
with
really
Batman.
no point. What was that?
Not with Batman. It did. The way that the Riddler goes about the dispensing of his victims, straight up serial killer. I mean, straight
Well,
up like
yeah, but not like Seven or it's more like uh, a fraction of Saw. There's I just I wasn't really it didn't feel R to me. It you know I I think what I will say is I think I wouldn't take a young child to it because I think they get bored. I think it's just the subject matter is too adult for children to really engage with it, because you don't have the big fight scenes, you don't have the big action
right.
set pieces, you don't have these spectacular stunts. You do, but not to something that we're used to, like Star
Well,
Wars.
right. Well, not those kind of action set
Yeah,
pieces. I mean, this is
there's not a
really
lot of blood in it. That's the other thing.
no. There is blood. I mean, this is the first time in my recollection you can see like blood splattered on the bat cowl. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah, but
and
not. Yeah, but it feels very tame. It's not Dexter like blood in any way.
but the things that happen, if I'm a kid and while some of this over the top violence happens off camera, we don't see it, or it's
Hmm.
done in a way that you don't see anything too gruesome. The thought in your head is what you didn't see. I almost think that
Yeah.
can, in certain situations, it can be worse.
Oh, absolutely.
Like what's in the box. We never saw what was in the box. The thought of that was gruesome. I'm referencing the end of Seven, of course. But
Yeah.
I want to get before we move on and
Yeah.
talk about these are the things I love, and there's more things that I loved, and it'll come up during our conversation. But I have some issues before we do that, and we're going to get to your comments. Do me a favor, like this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the Film Threat YouTube channel. We do a Friday morning live stream every week where we talk about the week's movies that have opened. We also talk about indie films in limited release. You won't hear reviews of those movies probably anywhere. So please support what we do by just liking, sharing this video, subscribe, and participate in the conversation. We have over 27 comments that we haven't gotten to. So
Yeah.
before we really get into it, let's start chatting. So here we are, right?
Yeah. There's a whole conversation going
Here we
on.
go. Watchman of Yah says, "Do we get a lot of fight scenes?" I would say we do. They're liberally spread throughout the film.
Hmm.
Once Batman makes his first appearance, which is a great fight scene, it's you're looking at about every 10 minutes a decent fight scene.
Yeah, I mean, there's a long stretch in the beginning from the opening fight scene to the next one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ground laid there, and like I said, it's never leading up to a set piece of action, which is something refreshing to me.
Well, there is, but I don't want to give it away just yet.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Satan West says, "This sounds good to me so far." Flaccid Phoenix, were some of the flaws with the final act because of any overtop messaging? Flaccid Phoenix, did you see the movie? I wouldn't say that the messaging's over the top, but it's there. And
Yeah.
my problems with the movie come in the second half, and the movie spins on a dime. I'm like, I'm loving this. This is great. And then Catwoman says one line to Batman.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard that line, I'm like, is this where we're going?
I mean, it's that one line. That one line.
Oh, so it bothered you too?
Yeah, it did. It's like, whoa, that just came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere because nowhere else in the film did it indicate that these were themes that we would be dealing with.
Yeah.
And then suddenly out of nowhere, there's a line that's spoken.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? And then the movie is almost like, it's like the first half of the movie is like Matt Reeves' dream Batman movie. And the second half of the movie is where all the studio notes were sort of shoehorned in. And the message you get, Flaccid Phoenix must have seen the movie or read some more detailed spoilerish reviews.
But again, it's just that one line. It's never referenced before or after it. It just happens, and it's like, whoa, wow, you just took me out of the movie at this moment.
It totally took me out of the movie because the world isn't the world of today.
Yeah.
It's not the world of today. I mean, it has some of the same technology, but the other thing we forgot to mention was of a thing that I liked was Gotham City is a character.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best. This is like if Tim Burton really like just went all out. This is, I mean, Gotham is dark. It's always raining. It's awesome.
Yeah, it rained. It rained the whole time.
Well, for half the movie, more than half the movie, at least.
Yeah.
But like, what I love about it is Gotham City is a character unto itself. Like dark, seedy Gotham. It's almost
like a TV series. Almost.
It's almost like Warner Brothers decided we're going to do one of the biggest promotions to promote Batman, and we're going to turn Los Angeles into Gotham City, because just having seen parts of LA that I've loved descend into crime infested areas. It's okay. This is if you live in LA, you know what I'm talking about. We're
it's like what LA used to be.
we need Batman to come and clean up California's corrupt infrastructure here. But let's get back to let's get some of these comments. Satyam Kumar, and I'm sure I said that wrong, and so my apologies. I think many people didn't like the length of the movie.
Yeah, there was a single moment where I said, "Oh my God, we're still going."
Well,
it's like we're not ending it here. We're just gonna.
I had been warned that the middle of the movie, there's like this stretch in the middle of the movie that kind of is unnecessarily longish, and it's there. Like, you're absolutely right. Like even the positive reviews I've read, every single person mentions the length. You could cut 20 minutes out of the movie and not miss a thing. 15, 20 minutes. This should have been maybe 2:20, 2.5 hours. It's nearly 3 hours.
In a way, you could have cut that third act. I mean, the third act was, I appreciated it being there, but if it had ended at the second act, I was like, oh, still not a bad movie.
Well, Satyam Kumar says they were saying it could have been trimmed. I agree.
Absolutely.
Why does a ninja? Let me read these. Now, why does a ninja make footsteps again? Says Adam Gray. Is it true J.K. Simmons is in it? If J.K. Simmons is in it, I didn't notice. I went to the bathroom once. I'm sorry, folks. It's long, and I specifically didn't.
He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't in it.
We already answered.
But then again, I didn't know Colin Farrell was in it. So
yeah, are there nipples on the batsuit? That's the burning question. There are not, thankfully.
Yeah, sadly.
So, George Molo, George, we need to talk. This is phenomenal to hear, Chris. Yes. Was the Riddler good in this movie, or was he cheesy?
So Frank Gorshin or Paul Dano?
Well, look, I love Frank Gorshin's portrayal of the Riddler in the 66 Batman. That was a whole other look. Here, I've got it right here. It's my Corgi Batmobile based on the 66 Batman series. If you've ever seen one of these, I bought it new in box years ago. It's not.
Yeah, pull it out. I can't see it.
No, I'm not going to pull it. But and of course, Eric K adds. Eric K. Hello, Eric K. Says George. You always have to say that. Everyone saying hail to George and hail to Eric K. People are hailing each other in the chat. That's great. So thank you for all that. They're all chatting amongst themselves at this point. Let's see. How many times did you have to pee, Chris? Only once. I did have to pee a lot at the end, but I held it. It's really because I think I've told this story before. I was born with one kidney. My superpower is, if I'm a mutant, that I urinate 3 times more than the average person. So yeah, and there you go.
It's a strong stream. That's what
it's very strong, but never cross the streams. Fletcher Williams says, hit that like button like Batman hit the darkness, like vengeance. Let's see. Just hope I can buy RP as Batman. 100%. What's weird is how like Bruce Wayne is sort of a side character in this. It's not Bruce Wayne's story. In fact, what's weird is, this is hard to describe. When you see Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, he's still Batman. And I feel like that was a conscious choice on Robert Pattinson's part and Matt Reeves. It's like, oh, he's just Batman. When he's got the suit on, then he can do more Batman type stuff. But when he's not, when he's Bruce Wayne, he's not living a dual identity. He's not trying to impress anybody. He's not trying to he's not trying to put on a front, or he's not trying to deflect from people that he's not Batman. And I thought that was a really interesting choice.
Mhm.
I like that quite a bit. It's a minor thing. And Dane Fagerholm says, "Into the trash it goes." He must have been
The comic
referencing
book.
the Shanatsky says, did it earn its 3+ hours runtime? I'm gonna unfortunately have to say no. Alan, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it went on way too long. You know, I mean, I appreciate the story that was told.
Right.
But you know, I definitely 3 hour. I'm getting tired of 3 hour movies now.
Well, Flaccid Phoenix said, I just read some reviews, but I am glad I will be prepared for this horrible line now. Yeah, everyone's going to know it. Like, there's going to be a collective cringe groan. I don't think anybody audibly groaned, but you could hear in the theater, like,
Yeah.
oh. And I'm not going to say what the line is. You will know it when you hear it. It's about at the midpoint in the movie, and it just stops the movie because you're like, there's been nothing else like that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that sort of leads that this is organically something that would be discussed.
That this was something that bothered, that prompted a response like that.
Adam Gray says, I'd take Val Kilmer over Batfleck. Pattinson should probably be fine in comparison. All right, well, that's fair. Val Kilmer, I did not hate Val Kilmer as Batman. I thought that was, I mean, even though it was sort of the Schumacher over the top stuff, I initially kind of liked Batman Forever when I first saw it. I thought Nicole Kidman and Val Kilmer had real chemistry in that. So
I still prefer Nick Rivers from Top Secret.
Holy hand grenades. And I see, by the way, I don't really read the comments before I put them up. So if you're going to troll me, I'm probably going to make a mistake and end up reading something. We'll be like, hey,
I don't know, this one kind of gives away the line. So.
Yeah. But holy hand grenades, I'm not going to necessarily read your comment, but I'll say it's
that's the one.
it's in that realm. It's kind of in that realm. Overall, where you will rate this Batman movie compared to other Batman movies? This is a question from Satyam Kumar. I will say this. And the thing is, I've only seen the movie once. Literally saw it fresh, got out of the screening a little over an hour ago. And I feel like I need to see it again. I'm going to see it twice more before the weekend's out. And I feel like I'll, be able to because when sometimes you see a film and you're like, some things bother me. You see it again, like, they don't stand out as much. Your kind of first impression, you kind of need to settle in, or you end up liking a movie more. Sometimes you like it less. Where I would rate it, I would say this. I'm still think that Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight is probably still going to be my favorite Batman film ever made. Maybe the best superhero movie ever made would be the Nolan Batman, along with the original Richard Donner Superman, kind of up there. And that was what Christopher Nolan, if you've looked at the extras on the Blu-ray, or I think it was the Blu-ray when he did like the sort of collected edition with all three of the Nolan Batman films, there's an interview he does with Richard Donner, or Richard Donner interviews Chris Nolan, which is more of a conversation. And where Christopher Nolan basically admits, like, look, the original Superman movie, I modeled that. That was what I was trying to do for Batman and tell the origin story. So
Patty Jenkins said the same thing about her Wonder Woman, that she based it off of Richard Donner.
Right. Let's some like Watchmen of Yas says, was the Riddler look good, fitting to the movie? Was it unnecessary? No, I think I the thing is, this is like the way that they have inserted the Riddler into this, he is more of a
Twitch streamer.
Yeah, like there's elements of it that I didn't like, where it just sort of goes into like social media. He's got this many followers, and what's weird is during this, there's sort of a thing where the Riddler's giving a speech, and I'm reading all of the comments, and all of because those are kind of clues to things. They're kind of foreshadowing stuff that's going to happen. So I was like, okay, I can hear what he's saying, and I can read at the same time.
Yeah.
So
it's a very evil Discord server that he's on. So.
And this is going to keep coming up. How was Robert Pattinson as Batman? Wasn't he a good? I think that may be one of the best aspects of the movie, is Pattinson as this Batman. It's the Batman that I've seen in comics that we haven't necessarily seen, we haven't necessarily seen that Batman on screen. I mean, Affleck came close in the Martha, when he saved Martha scene in BVS, but yeah. And then Shinatsky, great question. How woke did it end up being?
It's just that one line. It was
No,
one
it's
line.
It's not just the one line, Alan. There are a couple other things in there that are like a little overt, mostly towards the end.
Yeah, but
and Larry says one woke line from Catwoman out of nowhere, and no one's talked about it. No one's talked about it. I'm really kind of surprised that no one has talked about this. It just completely takes you out of the movie. And like, and just to be clear, the context, right? This is the fan screening that IMAX, you're seeing it a couple days before it opens on Thursday. Everybody got comic books. You paid a little bit of a premium. There was an intro by the cast and where they do a little intro. They had this kind of cool countdown, which was fun, that had some artwork, but like that line just came out of nowhere. The great thing was the audience was into it. I mean, there's like applause, like there's things that Batman does that Robert Pattinson's Batman does that just get huge applause. There's things that people laugh, but they're not like I say, no quippy jokes. There's no like sort of Schwarzenegger like one-liners,
no groaners, basically.
There's no groaners, right? But there are things that are just from the situation kind of funny. They're just funny.
I think we laughed. We had good laughs maybe 4 times, which was a nice breakup from the serious nature of the film.
Yeah, and let's see. George Molo asks, how is it compared, Chris, to Batman Begins? I would say Batman Begins is, I don't know. I love Batman Begins. There's so many layers to it. It really is a character study of Bruce Wayne. It's the Bruce Wayne movie. Is Batman kind of at the end, but he's kind of learning like, look, I'm not, petty crime I don't care about, right? It's what are the seeds of that? What are the things that create ills in society? And I like that as a thread in Batman Begins. So I don't know that it's comparable to Batman Begins. I like Batman Begins as an origin story. This isn't an origin story, but well, in certain respects, I don't know how spoilery we want to get.
Well, I mean,
we're not going to be spoilery.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil. I'm going to give you an impression I get, but it's. I feel like all of the previous Batmans were basically variations of itself, and this one feels very different from those. That this one is very set apart from the rest of the Batmans, and I think that is something I do appreciate about this one.
Well, let me pop around and get some more of these questions, and then we might get into spoilers. I'm gonna see what the chat says. So,
or does everyone want to wait till Friday and we can get into spoilers?
Yeah, we could get into spoilers on Friday when more people have seen it. But XLVI Gmail says Batman Begins has more rewatch value than Dark Knight. I would agree. I think Batman Begins, when I watch that, there's sort of a slow burn to that that I think that just really works. But those two movies, The Dark Knight Rises has problems. The Dark Knight Rises has some problems here.
I think Dark Knight is more of a rated R movie than this one.
No, no, Alan. There's some things from a tone standpoint. Look, I would say single-digit age children. This movie is. I mean, this is the first PG-13 movie I've seen where I'm just like, oh, this is definitely PG-13.
Okay, I have to see it again.
Anyone under 13 should not like. I mean, it's really, but like as a parent who has taken my kids to some movies that might have been questionable, you kind of know what your kids can handle. Alan, you know.
Yeah, I made that mistake many times.
You took your daughter to Jackass Forever. Right. Holy Hand Grenade says that's too bad, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't expect the studios to require the message to be pushed. I'll still go check it out though. Hopefully we get.
I just wonder how that slipped in, or what.
You could literally fix it by cutting out that line. That line is so out of nowhere, and everyone's going to be talking about it. Come Friday, everybody's going to be talking about how this line.
I think the internet will talk about it. I don't know that major outlets.
One line. So here you go. Adam Gray, has WB learned anything from doing a successful character study like Joker and applied it here? They could have done that. I mean, Joker to me is masterful. There you go. Oh, Fletcher Williams for a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Fletcher. And no comment, but Fletcher,
I'll greatly appreciate
get to some of your comments here. Fletcher Williams says Wayne Tech bans the Riddler from Twitter and he goes mad. What's so funny is we're going to get into some spoilers, but there is an aspect of because he hasn't been revealed. All you've seen is you've kind of seen him in videos. You've seen him in that weird mask. When you kind of see Paul Dano as the Riddler, there's something that they're going for, and I'm not sure I'm about it.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little disappointed when Dano comes out.
Well, let's get into it. I want to get through these, and someone's XLVI Gmail says, please get into spoilers. It's going to take a while before it's released into the pirate sphere. By the way, sorry for the horror. I live in Stockholm. No problem. And also, hello, Stockholm.
Yeah,
I'm happy it's got to be early for you there. So we'll get into it in just a sec. I just want to make sure to get through some of the questions here before we get into spoilers, and then we'll give your warning. When it comes down to it, should people go see it in theaters or wait till it's on HBO Max? Watchmen of Yah says 100% see this in a theater.
Absolutely.
The sound design, the music. There's also, I don't know, like in your theater, Alan, the sound is so good at the IMAX, the AMC Burbank, that there are parts where like the Batmobile, the reveal of the Batmobile, or the footsteps of Batman in certain parts, like the sound design is just, I mean, you got to see it in a movie theater.
I'll say this about the Batmobile. Our seats were vibrating at the Batmobile.
Same here.
Yeah.
Our seats actually, the movie wasn't in Sense-Around. That's an old school.
No, these are just IMAX seats.
Yeah, Sense-Around, which is basically just they cranked up the bass.
Yeah,
is kind of what they did. But yeah, I 100% see it in the theater. I mean, I will have seen it, come this weekend 3 times. But look, I am a Batman fan. And a quick thing, before we get into the spoilers, if you have not seen this book, I'm going to put myself full screen, Alan, just so people can check this out. This is a thing put out by Giant Panda King Press. Giant Panda King. It is a book called Gotham 1919-1939. It's an unauthorized, detailed account of Gotham. And it portrays Gotham City as sort of a, it's sort of a 1920s Prohibition era, like a Prohibition era Gotham that's filled with crime. You've got they just did 2 editions of it. This edition has an additional 50 pages.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable stuff in here. Just when you see it portrays there's just so much. Just look this up, Giant Panda King. This thing is so inspiring. It's an art project that basically supposes that Batman is real, and this is like a little encyclopedia of Batman, and the artwork, the way the photography is done. They cast actors, the costumes. Harley Quinn is in here. Every Batman villain, even stuff like this. The Flying Graysons. I mean, this is just an amazing vision, and we'll talk about this more on our Friday live stream because I'm going to pull out a whole bunch of my other Batman stuff. And by the way,
we have some super chats. By the way,
I took this. Oh, we got some super chats. We'll get to those. When I was at my screening, I got this. I brought this envelope. By the way, I made this, and you can make this too. Just get a green envelope from a gift card or from a birthday card or something, and then just write on it to the Batman.
Yeah. Use your other hand and write.
Use your other hand. So let's see. We got a super sticker. I don't even know what a super sticker is.
I don't know either.
And it's 219 SEK. Thank you, XLVI Gmail. That must 209. That's I don't know what it translates.
I don't know what that is either.
But I hope we're rich. Fletcher Williams for another $1.99 super chat says the bat signal says the message. Oh my God. There you go. But I'm going to dip out before spoilers, says Tyler Boshears. Thanks for answering questions, fellas. Definitely will check this movie out. Take care, y'all. Tyler, before you leave, check out the rest of this stream later. We'll leave it up on the channel. We'll have a spoiler warning. And Additionally, we're going to talk about it on Friday because more people will have seen it. So for our Friday morning live stream at 9 a.m. Pacific time, we will discuss it more. But is everybody ready for spoilers, chat? Should we get into it? Because I love this 24 by 36. I know what that means. I know what you're talking about. So there you go. Later, Tyler. All right, so let's get into it. We might have to change our thumbnail. But now we're getting into the Batman spoiler. So, okay, I'm going to give you, first of all, before we get into spoilers,
now's the time to bail.
I think it's important that we have a 30-second dance party.
30-second dance party.
We're getting into spoilers, folks. Spoilers, here they come. We're going to get into it. Okay, you ready? This is your signal to leave. Here we go.
This is how we party.
Okay, this is your spoiler warning. So
leave.
We haven't lost anybody.
Yes. All right. See you, Carlos.
Take care, Carlos. Take care, everybody. Taking off. You watch the rest of it later. All right. That's my girlfriend. This
Spoiler.
She thought this would be funny. It's a spoilers dance party. We'll do that every time now. All right. Let's get into the spoilers here. We talked about a couple. I don't know that they're really spoiler things, but the big problem I have with this movie, and this comes as being a lifelong Batman fan. I fell in love with Batman. I was a kid. I watched the 66 Adam West Batman television series, which I took very seriously as a kid. I mean, the lifelong Batman fan, read all the key Batman comics. I've sort of, I would not consider myself a Batman expert, but I know more than your average normie. Let's just say that. And I, sort of fell back in love with Batman when Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns came out. Of course, that was followed by Batman Year One, etc. So, and then of course there's Hush and so many other great Batman comics. Ego is the one that I have not read, which Robert Pattinson, I guess, is a fan of. I need to read that one. Here are the problems I have with this movie. They all come in the second half. And I want to get your take on this, Alan. Fletcher Williams with a $4.99 super sticker. Thank you for the super sticker. I don't even know what that is. One sheet to rule them all. I feel you, Adam Gray. But here are the problems with the second half. Is when Catwoman utters this line and the movie it's almost like Matt Reeves made the ultimate Batman movie for Batman fans, and then in the second half of the movie, he shoehorned in all the notes the studio was trying to force down his throat. And here's where it comes in. They dramatically change both the origin of Catwoman, because the Batman is not just the story of Batman kind of finding his way as the world's greatest detective, right? It's the origin of Catwoman, which it's great. I mean, she's a lead character in this, who we find her story. The thing is this, the story of her origin is just weird. You find out that basically she was fathered by one of the main villains in the story.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It's kind of an aside too. It's like,
it's kind of an aside.
It's like, okay. There we go. That's
yeah. And John Locke, okay, yes. The film super stickers have emoji that says critical hit. All right. Well, thank you, Eric K.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric K, for hanging out. John Locke says, what was the line? I don't think we should say what the line is. I mean, it's a line where you just need to hear it for yourself. It's just something where you're like,
it's really out of the blue.
It's so out of the blue. Doesn't make sense.
But it's indicative of these times.
Was the studio telling Matt Reeves you need to put something in like that? Because you could literally, I have some friends who are editors. You could cut 15 minutes out of this movie and it would be nearly perfect. It would be nearly perfect. But what happens is not only do they change the origin of Catwoman and who her parents are, they change Bruce Wayne's origin in a not the origin in a sense. Let me just say this: it's the Wayne legacy. right? So you come to find out that there's a dark past to Thomas Wayne, who, was, at least in the, it's so weird how like different people who kind of add to the mythos, like adds kind of a new layer. Chris Nolan, like solidly, like Thomas Wayne was a doctor who somehow had money and a foundation and whatnot. They were very philanthropic, and he was actually a medical doctor, right? In this, Thomas Wayne he's a doctor, but he also ran for mayor. And there are some dark things from the Wayne family. In addition, the Arkham family. So they kind of connect the Waynes and the Arkhams in a way that's like, this is what I didn't like about not just the fact that they added this sort of wrinkle that there's a dark past to the Wayne family, but the way that the information is portrayed is on videos dropped by the Riddler. He does these little mini documentaries that kind of drop information. There's kind of an overuse of news reports in it. Like after a while, I'm like, I get it. You need to kind of move the narrative along. And the one complaint people have said, it didn't bother me, it might bother you. Batman and Bruce Wayne don't talk a lot in this. They don't have, I don't think that most of the dialogue is, just the thing is, most of the dialogue is very terse from Batman. He speaks softly, but carries a big batarang.
Well, he speaks like a detective, which is, he's spotting clues.
He's everything is sort of below the radar. And I would say Zoë Kravitz I thought she was a great Catwoman. Yeah. What's weird is her past is very dark. And then it ends up being this tale of vengeance, right? Like once certain information is revealed. I don't want to get like, yes, we're sort of in a spoiler part, but not like, I don't want to go.
We'll dive deep on Friday.
Yeah. We'll go deeper on Friday, but right now what I just want to say is I did not like the way they changed Batman. It bothered me.
So here's a question.
What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I guess I'm so used to storylines of heroes changing constantly from one iteration to the next that I'm less bothered by re-tinkering with a character's backstory. Clearly, we're all used to John and Martha Wayne getting killed in front of a theater. This death, is inserted to serve the plot of this story, and that's the same thing with Selina Kyle. Is her origin is brought out of nowhere and serves one purpose, and that's to serve the plot of this specific story. And I guess I'm less bothered by it. And part of it is I'm a Marvel guy, and so I'm less invested in the backstory of Catwoman and Batman. But even when they do it in Marvel, I don't care a whole lot. It's just kind of a good story.
No, well, yes, but what was the point? Is the point to kind of
serve the plot?
the point to kind of like, first of all, it makes the plot way more convoluted than it's necessary.
Yeah. If it never came out, if her relationship never came out, I don't necessarily think the movie would be fundamentally different.
Precisely. So yeah, it's just like when I looked, like I was sitting there in the theater, we're at the midway point of the movie. She says that line and the movie goes off in this different direction. And I love the first half of the movie. The first half of this movie, The Batman, for me is a 10 out of 10. And the second half of the movie is a 5 out of 10. So if I had to combine them, I would say this movie for me is like a 7.5. Unfortunately. And look, I did a Film Threat logo in the shape of, it could be a bat. Who knows? And also support Film Threat. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. You can wear the very shirt that I'm wearing right now. You can even pick the color of shirt that you want. But in any case,
well, I will say that moment when we learn of her origin, it's that classic "I am your father" type moment.
It is, and it's also like, but it doesn't make it. What
it has very little impact on the entire story.
It gives her motivation to want to murder somebody, and then Batman tries to prevent her from murdering because Batman, I don't kill. That's his one rule, and
Well,
that's
even
sort of
even Gordon was speaking that way. Hey, Batman.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he was like Jeffrey Wright should be given like props, but we didn't get a lot of his character. They're just immediately kind of like buddy cop movie without the humor. But let me get to a couple of your comments and
super chat
with the spoiler. We have a super chat here from Kevin Diaz Ramirez. Thank you for your $12.50 super chat.
Thank
the
you.
first rule of Film Threat is you tell everyone you know about Film Threat. Yes, you
Absolutely.
do. Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate your support. Holy Hand Grenade says, man, I just know I'm going to be pissed at the theater. Lol. I don't know that. I'm going to say this. I was pissed. And here's why. The first half of the movie, you got me. Like, holy, I'm going to come out of here, walking on cloud 9, just like this is the greatest Batman movie I've ever seen. And up until that point, I felt that. And then it takes this turn, and then the action sequence at the end gets so over the top in kind of a ridiculous sense. And it's like, okay, I see what they're doing. And then also the reveal of Paul Dano as the Joker, or excuse me, the Joker, the Riddler. I almost gave something away.
I didn't hear anything.
I promised myself. When Paul Dano reveals himself as the Riddler, you kind of feel sorry for him. It's like, oh, that's him. He's sort of a wimpy incel, or what would be people's impression of an incel, or what someone might think, or the caricature of an incel, kind of like the villain in the 2016 Ghostbusters, right? Like the main villain is a troll, which is incredibly stupid. And in this, that's kind of what it is, along with an army of other trolls that kind of like this sort of Riddler army of assassin trolls that are kind of mimicking and helping him. And it sort of felt very, I almost don't want to say it. Hey,
it felt 60s Batman, basically.
Gary is here. Gary, I was just watching you this afternoon on Real BBC. And, so thank you, Gary, for dropping this. I think it's the first time Gary's watched a live stream. FFS. What? I'm sure that's something that FFS means something. Probably fuck shit. Does it mean fuck shit? Because that's how I felt. So this, and thank you for watching, popping in. This second half of the movie is it threw me, and it's what we're going to be talking about. It's what we're going to be talking about, and in particular, that final scene. There's a final action scene where Batman has to take out a bunch of assassins, and the assassins are basically all internet
trolls.
Yeah,
no, it's 60s Batman henchmen, basically.
It's so on the nose of like, I'm resisting saying it out loud, but
I think if there was a dance number, they would have all gone choreography with that.
Thank you, Gary. We have to chat about a bunch of stuff and continue to lurk. Hail Nerdrotic. I'm an FNT watcher. What can I say? I'm a Friday night. I plan my night around it. Even if I go like I'm out, like I'm driving, whatever, I have to always listen to Friday Night Tights. So big fan of that show and other people on that show. Many of the people on that show. So it's the second half of the movie that people are going to have the problems with. And I think the people, I have not seen any reviews that have necessarily discussed any of this, that like once Catwoman says this cringy line and the movie goes off in this direction, the changing of her origin, which is fine. It gives her motivation to commit murder and become the villainous version of Catwoman, because she's kind of just trying to do the right thing. And then once this reveal about her past comes out and she wants to murder somebody, then it's like she's the evil Catwoman, I guess, and a nemesis of Batman. And then additionally, when you find out about the dark past of the Wayne family, this is sort of ending. It's supposed to end up being some proxy for guilt on behalf of the Wayne family for having money and for having allocated money in a way that was not necessarily virtuous. I'm speaking around it because I do want to like we are talking things that are spoilers in the second half.
Yeah.
I don't want to be super specific about it because I do
Right.
want you to enjoy it. And I also like I do have to like I am seeing the movie again on Thursday, and so by the time that we discuss it again on Friday, Alan, I'll have seen it at least twice.
Yeah, I may or may not be able to do that, but
well, that's fine.
I'll give
We
it a
have
try.
other movies. We have other movies we're going to be talking
I
about on
know.
Friday. Oddly, we have other movies, and we have a special guest on Friday, director of this movie, this new Bruce Willis movie. Which seriously,
another which
oh,
one?
it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Which one?
This Bruce Willis, I can't wait. I love talking.
Well, I did see Turning Red, so I don't know if we.
Oh, you could okay. Tell us about Turning Red.
Yeah.
I want to hear why that movie is not being released theatrically.
Okay, yeah, well,
Disney Plus.
We'll talk about
it on Friday.
Yeah.
But Alan, what are your thoughts? like? I'm bringing up the things that really bought. Like, I feel like we all know Batman's origin. Did we need to now make his past as dark and is he racked with guilt? There just wasn't enough time for him to kind of process this. And then it's I don't know. It bothered me just as a lifelong fan of the character.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts, Alan?
And I am way less invested in that character than
okay.
And so it doesn't bother me. Again, what I appreciate about it is, at least that stuff served this plot. I like the fact that this story is somewhat self-contained. There doesn't really have to be a sequel. We could talk about that later, but and so everything that happens because of the events of this film, and so when you get into the John and Martha Wayne backstory, that for me, I like that because it influences what happens to the Bruce Wayne character in the movie, and I thought that was a good twist of where the story was leading itself.
But it got really slow. Like once Catwoman says that cringy line, and then the movie gets slow for 20 minutes. I want to, for those of you, and Robbie Steve here has a comment. I just also saw the IMAX fan first showing, liked it a lot, but also had problems with the last act. The final action set piece felt gratuitous.
Yes.
Same with that.
I will agree with that.
Quote line. I too will see it again. Anyone in the chat who has actually seen it and would like to comment, and maybe sort of, elaborate a bit. I'm speaking around
and watch this. Yeah, don't overly spoil it either.
Right, but I like the fact that they did kind of a fake out. First, we think the Waynes were bad, then there's kind of a redemption.
Well, the way they redeemed, I was like, oh, okay. It was all done in a speech, and
it's all done in a speech. It isn't as impactful. Yeah. This weird, this whole dark past of the Waynes being connected to the Arkham family, to all this stuff is all done in a video dropped on social media by the Riddler.
Yeah. Well,
it's not like he uncovers something or we and then it's just the information. Not only do I not like that this is the path they're going down, but the way that the information is actually revealed to the audience is awkward.
let me give you my thought on that. I liked, I was okay with the way it was dropped, but it felt like the resolution of it happened relatively quickly in a conversation, and then we were done with it. Well, and I felt like at least Bruce should have kind of took that news in for a lot longer in the movie, kind of dealt with that anger for an act or two, and then have it resolved.
I guess. I mean, the movie takes place over the course of a week, right?
Yeah. And by the way, there was an election.
Yeah, so it's like it's interesting. It's interesting because it takes place, kind of starts on Halloween night, then it goes through the mayoral election, which is weird. But Wolfie Pooh says, "Show don't tell." I agree, and there was almost got to be too much of the Gotham City action news here. Here are the plot points to catch you up, because you're not going to learn anything from Batman. So yes, Robbie Steve says very exposition
Rabbis.
heavy. It's like he wrote himself into a corner and then needed an extra 20 minutes to get out of it. I agree. And I think that part of this has to do with the fact that Matt Reeves actually, remember they shut down the production over COVID, and like Robert Pattinson got COVID like during the production, and they had to kind of shut down and then restart. And then Matt Reeves even said, because I watched that, what is it, the DC Fandom, right? And Matt Reeves did a thing where he said, well, we kind of, because of the shutdown, they got to kind of re-look at the movie and how they could do. I don't think that helped them. I don't think that the having to stop the movie and then get back into it.
That's probably how that line got in.
That's probably how that line got in. And it just seems so forced. Like, I want to know about that line. Did Matt Reeves write it and put it in? Was that in the original script, or was that a studio note? Because, and it just seems like this one line is meant to placate Twitter. And that bothered me. It freaking bothered me. It took me out of the movie. It's completely unnecessary. It wasn't part of the world.
Yeah. And that's a pivot point in this movie.
It was bad. It was bad. But see, the oligarchs aren't so bad.
Not all of them.
The reveals were just told and weren't all that impactful as they could have been. I agree, Wolfie Poo, if I'm saying your name correctly. But yeah, no, again, like I say, it's like the perfect first half of the movie, and then this, I don't know, like
here's the one thing that we haven't talked about, but that last set piece, that last action scene,
right?
It was to set up Batman as kind of the hero of the city. And I don't think that really came across all that effectively. Where he's holding the thing and everyone's following him. That to me is what. Flare. Yeah, that to me that's them saying, okay, Batman is the hero of this city, and we can all trust him now. And I think that's what they were going for, and I don't think they got it across very well.
It's like Fletcher Williams says, the Riddler goes on Penguin Rogan's podcast and gets taken to Arkham for his extremes views. Exactly.
Misinformation.
Oh my God.
Misinformation.
Patrick Lemire asks, so overall, A- or C-? I would say B-, if not like a C+.
Yeah. So you were perfect movie, and then it converted to a good movie.
That's what's weird. It's like a perfect movie until the line. Then it's like it's a mid-level. It's like it goes from a 10 out of 10 to a 5 out of 10. My rating would be a 7.5. So I guess that's like a C or a C+.
Yeah.
It's
a passing score for us.
Yeah. Wolfie Poo says, that one damn line, though, I actually was dumb enough to believe the movie wouldn't be woke at all. It's not, and I don't think the movie is overly woke. It's just, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Spider-Man No Way Home. Can we just have those? Can we just have that? Like it just doesn't need to be a part of it. And the other thing is, here's what people don't realize. You're responding to sort of what's in the cultural zeitgeist now. And I truly believe that most of the woke stuff that's in the cultural zeitgeist now, in a very short few years, we're going to look back on and go, ooh, that really stands out. Kind of like when you look at certain things where they're just almost too responsive to the era and sort of too rooted in what's in the pop culture zeitgeist because it's just there and it stands out and it makes no sense. There are shows and movies that do this, but also like this movie being long, it struck me that, and I have to give Gary Beekler credit for this from Nerdrotic, why don't they just make a Batman TV show? I'm tired of these TV shows. No one cares about Batman's Dogs TV show. Or they even made, I never watched it, Pennyworth. I remember being criticized when I was on G4 in Attack of the Show because I did not like Smallville. I'm like, let's show the boring parts of Clark Kent's life. I don't want to see that. That can be part of a Superman TV series where we show flashbacks to when he was a kid growing up in Smallville. That's fine. But ultimately, what they really need to do is, because I grew up watching the Batman 66 television series with Adam West. I grew up watching it. I love it. Why don't they just make a Batman TV show? Then you can have kind of these side quests. You can have like other characters, like you can see the origins, you can see development. I mean, of certain characters. and things don't have to like wrap up at the end of a movie, right? Like I really think that Batman is ripe for just being an HBO Max television series, and I wish they would do it. I really.
What if they did a '60s remake of Batman on HBO Max?
I don't know. Fletcher Williams says, so it took a full hour for the corporate office to say, hold on, buddy, we got a checklist here. You're not wrong. And it's not like they totally subscribe to this checklist. I mean,
I would say that Jeffrey Wright being, is it Commissioner? It's not Commissioner Gordon, but Jeffrey Wright, there's no call out to the fact that, he's black, which is, quite refreshing. And
also,
quite frankly, the mayoral candidate is black, and it's just she's just running for mayor. There's no call out to wokeism in all.
But she really stood out as sort of like your modern day, like, hey, pay attention to this. I didn't even though the actress was fine, I felt like that just felt a little like here's the thing to placate, people on Twitter, which I thought was kind of Fletcher Williams, Amazon Batman, the Batarangs of Power. I don't know. Rabbi Steve says, did I say Robbie Steve? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's Rabbi. Yeah.
It's Rabbi Steve. Rabbi Steve, my apologies. He did a great job for about 60% of it and then felt like they ran out of a way to keep that going. I really love the noir aspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reminded me of Maltese Falcon or Laura or Chinatown. I agree with you, Rabbi Steve.
Absolutely.
I love that aspect. The aspect of it, like this, crime story where it's just like layers and layers are being unraveled of the corruption in Gotham City and how it's connected to these legacy rich families. And I really love that aspect to it. Yeah, Chinatown, it definitely had like shades of Chinatown. Like the whole city is corrupt. Like I said earlier, I wish Batman would come to California and just get rid of the corruption here. Because I've witnessed firsthand the city descend into effectively Gotham City, crime ridden.
Yeah. So, well, it used to be like that, and then it got fixed, and now it's back.
Yeah.
There's a whole movie with Emilio Estevez about that. All right.
Watchman of Yah says, now seeing the movie, do you guys think Batflick will return or that WB will push AT&T to go forward with getting rid of the Snyderverse? I don't know. And let me tell you why to answer your question, Watchman of Yah. First of all, the Snyderverse isn't over. The Snyderverse continues with the Flash movie that Ben Affleck is in, that also Michael Keaton is in as Batman. So there's Flash, that's from the Snyderverse. There's Aquaman 2, that's Snyderverse. There's the Rock movie.
Yeah, Black Adam.
Black Adam, that's the Snyderverse. I don't know if the Snyderverse is going away, but the Flash movie might be the closing the chapter on that. The one dumb thing is, why don't they just make a Henry Cavill Man of Steel 2? I don't know why they never did that. That should have been greenlit immediately. Part of that, I think, is that values in Hollywood. I think Hollywood is sort of morally corrupt and doesn't know how to make a movie that espouses true selfless heroism and virtuousness. I feel like that is not how people think in Hollywood. So they don't relate necessarily to someone who could be a Superman or a Boy Scout like Steve Rogers, Captain America, right? So there you go. I don't know. I think Batfleck is out. I think that a future Robert Pattinson, say, Batman trilogy is going to depend on how much money it makes. And couple thoughts on that. One, the length of this movie is going to hurt it a lot. The length of this movie is going to hurt it. It's going to lead to fewer repeat viewings. Look, I know I'm not a normal moviegoer. I posted on my personal Instagram at that Chris Gore, like when I'm seeing that. I'm seeing a movie 3 times. If you can get tickets, we'll sit next to each other. We'll talk after the movie. But I'm not a normal moviegoer. When it comes to certain things, when it comes to like Batman or Dune or certain things, I am a super fan. When it comes to the Star Wars movies, I don't care about anything else at this stage, other than the movies, although I don't really care much anymore for obvious reasons. That has been discussed to death. And no, I'm not going to go on a tangent about Star Wars, Alan. I saw the look on your face.
I know. It's like, how far did we get?
How far did we
It's
get?
an hour 10 and we're talking about Star
Oh
Wars.
my God. Yeah. Adam Gray says,
I mean, I will say, I'm not.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's
I'm
hear
not
your
especially
thoughts.
looking forward to seeing this a second time.
Really?
I've seen No Way Home 3 times.
Do you have to go with does your daughter want to see this?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't care about Batman.
Really?
Yeah.
And she's a teenager.
She's all Marvel. She's
all Marvel?
She's head in first in Marvel, yeah.
Well, I did see the new trailer, or they might have been foreign trailers for Doctor Strange.
Mhm.
Kind of got me interested.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of the multiverse, but I do like the way Marvel's handling it, but I'm still not a fan of it. And I feel like Picard is doing kind of a multiverse thing, and isn't Flash kind of a multiverse thing too?
I don't know. I feel like audiences are going to be annoyed with this multiverse thing. The multiverse thing is going to be like asteroid movies that come to destroy the Earth, or it's going to be like that, or time travel movies. Or do you remember this was big? Body switching movies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, I'm in a different body now. Like that's like a genre. That and Nicolas Cage movies are a genre.
Freaky Friday was shot in front of my grandparents' restaurant. So
yeah. Let's see. We're going to go to a couple comments here and we'll continue our conversation. Milena Danilova says, thank you for this live. The only movies I am excited about this year are The Batman and Morbius. Ugh, I wonder why. Yeah. Good luck to the new show. Well, this is our new, we're doing our Friday live stream is just the Film Threat podcast or Film Threat livecast. That is every Friday, 9 a.m. And the Hollywood on the Rocks will be late night during the week. I don't know what day. It really kind of depends on when we have a good guest or a good topic, but we will be doing Hollywood on the Rocks every week. Other comments here. Leon of the New Geek says, evening, gents, Batman fan since I was about 5 or 6. Hey, I was 5. That's when I saw the Batman movie, the original Batman movie, which is the
Adam West Batman movie.
Adam West Batman movie. I was about 5 or 6 years old. That being said, I'm not looking forward to this movie. Seems pointless to make a rehash reboot of the TDK trilogy. Am I wrong on that description? No, this is different. This is different than what Nolan did.
It's very different.
It's very different. It's more akin to the darker comics in the realm of Batman Long Halloween, which if you went to the IMAX thing, you got to get that comic.
Yeah,
and Leon
earlier, but it's that noir feel.
The noir feels great. I mean, that works. Like he got the tone of like this should be the tone of the movie, and the second half of the movie, very disappointed.
Leon 60s Batman in the second half.
Nice kindred spirits, Chris. Not sure if you were here earlier, but if you're a fan of the old Batman, you know what this Corgi Batmobile is, right? That's the old school. And then I even picked up, because I couldn't resist, I picked this up. Because I don't know, I think I have like every incarnation of a Batmobile.
Well, there's one more coming.
I kind of have it. I like the Batmobile. What can I say? I like the Batmobile.
You have one more to put on your shelf.
Well, there you go. And I did like that Batmobile. So we'll see. This will do 200 million in China alone. Come on, guys, says Adam Gray.
It probably will.
And then they let's see some more comments here. I'm trying to get
to all
people need to get over Robert Pattinson being in Twilight. He was amazing in Good Time. The Lighthouse guy can act. Patrick Lemire, agree 100%.
Yes.
Pattinson, it was Good Time. When I saw him in Good Time, like, first of all, I remember I started watching Good Time. I didn't even know that was Robert Pattinson. That's how good he was. And I'm like, wait a sec, is that Robert Pattinson? You know, when you like see an actor that's like so like, you know, like Colin Farrell as the Penguin in this movie, you're like, that's Colin Farrell. And it's like, he's under like this cake makeup that does not look like makeup at all. And he's just, he's fantastic. Every scene, he just knocks it out of the park. And Rabbi Steve, thank you for the $1.99 super chat.
Thank you.
Really, really appreciate that. Didn't need 3 hours. Could have ended darker and 2 hours. Rabbi Steve, I agree. Like, if this was just a solid 2 hours, yeah, but it's just like, what it felt like is this is the season finale of the first season of Batman. Does that make sense, Alan?
Kind of, yeah. I'll say it again. It could have ended as a noir, but it ended as 60s Batman for me. Just
it's the changing Batman's, the legacy of his family, which is fine. There have been like changes here and there, but this was particularly dramatic. And then even the changing of the origin of Selina Kyle, I thought was a little, or at least elaborated on, and then turned her into a wannabe murderer.
Honestly, if you kept Selina Kyle's origin a secret, that's something you can go back to in the sequel. You can't do that now.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they were just trying to cram too much stuff in, and it's just like it's interesting because just looking at the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy, originally the Batmobile was supposed to get destroyed in Batman Begins, and he was like, I'm not going to do it. He saved the idea for the Dark Knight, which was a great idea. Like, oh, the Batmobile gets destroyed, but wait, then he's got the Bat Cycle. Like, that was so awesome. So I hear they bring up the Court of Owls. There is like a kind of a reference, yes.
Yeah, I didn't catch it, so that's how fast it went.
Brief reference, yes. So I want the high-tech Batfleck version of Batman in an HBO Max series, Leon of New Geek says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen the Batfleck.
And Rabbi Steve says the Batmobile was almost worth the price of admission right there. That car chase practically had me stand up and cheer. Yeah, the car chase, it was I thought a little so fast paced that it was kind of confusing at times. And, And
considering they were chasing the Penguin, it just kind of threw me off a little bit.
Well, with that scene, I wanted to so what's the goal for him just to get away? Like,
it was that kind of crescendo moment at the end that
I kind of feel like they had to have a chase scene, right?
Yeah.
So, a couple more comments here. We'll get to Fletcher Williams. But did he objectify Selina? Nah, I don't think so.
No,
not in that sense. Adam Gray, looking forward to seeing Gotham in this. Not gonna lie, old art director guy. Oh, Adam Gray, you're an old art director. You are gonna Gotham there's certain things that just as like a fan of different incarnations of the comic, there are things like right out of like great comics. Like it's like, I mean, certain of it I'm like, oh, it's like Bill Sienkiewicz painted that, like there's almost like there's like a cathedral quality like to certain parts of it, like Wayne Manor, and and I don't want even like the Riddler's lair, when that's revealed, there's like that's like a different kind of thing. But like, yeah, the art direction, you are gonna love that aspect of the film. You're gonna love it. Don Blackwright, to me, it feels like they've gone out of their way to deviate from the source material. Only in the second half they deviate and change things that I think. But the point is this: it wasn't necessary. That's what's actually irritating about it. It wasn't necessary to do any of that. It doesn't change the movie because, as you pointed out earlier, Alan, it's almost like they introduced this changed version of the Wayne legacy and then kind of half undo it. It's almost like and this like, I hate to reference this movie, The Rise of Skywalker, when it's like, oh no, Chewbacca's dead. Oh, he's not dead.
Yeah, we all knew he wasn't. Yeah.
What was the point? It's, to me, that is just lazy.
Yeah,
it's just lazy. Rabbi Steve says, yes, like they thought they needed a grand slam, but it would have been better with the solid double to set up the world. Would have had more shows per day. Would have been even more satisfying. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, and Rabbi Steve goes on to say, almost like they chicken out at the last minute. We need to have a huge action set piece with explosions and a gun battle. Like, that to me is that's a studio note. When to me, the more interesting resolutions are the ones that are internal, the ones that are from a human aspect. Like when you think about the Alan, you're going to hate me. Here I go.
Okay.
Best part of the climax of the original Star Wars movie isn't when the Death Star blows up. It's Luke Skywalker turning off the targeting computer when he believes in himself and he believes in the Force. And I think it's just Mark Hamill in the cockpit, right? That's the journey, right? It's okay. The Death Star blows up. Great. But like the human moment, I feel like the movie kind of especially in that second half and in that third act, it's missing that kind of humanity. Like, tell me the human story, right? So,
yeah, I mean, they did rush the whole John and Martha Wayne thing. You know, it was brought up, and then they just needed to power through it, and they did.
Exactly. And the Martha Wayne thing, they don't even really go into a whole lot of detail about what her scandal was, which I just assumed that she had mental issues.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Rabbi Steve says the goal was to have a cool car chase. That's absolutely true. Leon of the New Geeks also says, based on the trailer, the cinematography looks delicious. Can't even lie. Now that, like, I have no qualms about it. I mean, I read in one review that's on Rotten Tomatoes, I forget the woman who wrote the review, but she was like, don't they have light bulbs in Gotham? Like,
oh my gosh.
Did you see that? Like,
oh no, I didn't see it, but that's I mean, the fight scene that was lit by gunfire. I mean, that was incredible. I love that.
No, I thought that was great. And that's also very much like things we've seen in the comics, you know, in particular, like, to me, there's like the Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller is a milestone in comics. I read that once a year just to renew my faith. What I thought was really interesting on the positive side was there's some kind of a little bit of voiceover that's like a journal that Bruce Wayne / Batman
that's
keeps.
the noir aspect of
That's the noir aspect, and it's kind of like right out of the comics. It's that sort of speech in Bruce Wayne's head when he's just like, you know, all consumed with like he just has to become Batman again, right? Like he's this kind of 60-year-old Batman. So God, your comments are coming fast and furious here. So I'll do what I can. Fletcher Williams says, so do we just walk out in the second half and be happy?
No, I think it's worth sitting through.
Well, I don't. It's worth sitting through, but literally, I have friends that are editors, and this has happened before when Star Wars Episode 1 came out. A bunch of editors sort of did their own versions. They did what they called the Phantom Edit. You can look this stuff up. And those Phantom Edit versions were all better than the original Phantom Menace. And they cut out all the sort of juvenile humor involving Jar Jar. They, like, you know, they added, in fact, in one of the Phantom Edit versions, they added subtitles to Jar Jar, who speaks with a weird sort of accent that's kind of like Greedo, and he's like from a proud warrior race, the Gungans, and it makes you like Jar Jar. It's like, oh wow, like I don't know. I wouldn't walk out in the second half, but you could go like, okay, there's a 2-hour version of this movie that is a 10 out of 10. But the movie we got is a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So
first run, sit through it. Second run, just leave.
Adam Gray, as if 1,000 producers cried out in wokeness. Yeah. See, this is weird about this woke stuff, which I believe is going to be this is because there are trends. Hollywood follows the trends because they're lazy and fearful of losing their jobs. And this is a trend, and it is in the zeitgeist now because it's everywhere, right? And it's going to look embarrassing, and in probably less than 2 years you're going to look at movies and television shows made during this period and go, oof, rethinking, you know.
See, before it was being politically correct, now it's evolved into virtue signaling.
Right. Leon of the New Geeks, that noir stuff is intriguing. The noir stuff is the part of the movie that works the best.
Yeah, that's the movie. That's the movie.
That's the movie. And then when they stop doing that, it doesn't work.
Yeah. That final action scene is not noir in any way.
Fletcher Williams says the Waynes are using their privilege to get all those light bulbs. Oh my God. Yeah, Rabbi Steve
Yeah.
confirmed the noir element is the best part, and then they just kind of abandoned it to make it big.
Yeah.
Dead on. They were like, well, we need a big ending.
Mhm.
It's like it's like my favorite thing to say when I'm at a Comic-Con is like the best my favorite science fiction movie is that one where something blows up at the end. Which is like it's so cliche.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Tree Rock Creation says more like brainwashing. It's not so much in here like being used to sort of push agenda. It just doesn't fit the movie.
Yeah. It's
And-
a moment that can be cut out. I mean,
and it kills that scene where just like you had me. I was with you. I love this movie. And then that line is said, and it's just like, you're going to be this movie now. And then it's just, yeah, it's Leon of the New Geeks hate virtue signaling. I agree.
Well.
So, and then Rolex 79 Illuze. I'm saying all these names wrong. Please in the chat, please, my apologies for everyone whose name I said incorrectly or mispronounced. The second half is purely for box office, WB execs. Okay, now time for the big bloated explosions, a lot of fire and noise. You're absolutely right. They wanted the big ending. It didn't, the way that they set up, you didn't need a big ending. Seven, a movie we're talking about until now, a movie from the 90s. We are still talking about ends with a discussion of what's in the box.
Yeah.
And
you never see what's in the box.
You never see what's in the box, and it is such a powerful ending. You can say to anyone, you go up to a movie fan, you just say, "What's in the box?" I know what movie you're talking about. I know the scene of the movie, and I you know,
and the impact and the emotion of the moment.
Exactly, Alan. Exactly. Like it's oh God. Yeah. Fletcher, but why is Gotham so dark? Random TikToker. Yeah, I don't think TikTokers are gonna like this. The rumor was that the original script was very mystery over action, and it made execs nervous. Says Leon of the New Geeks.
Yeah, we're arguing that's the best part. That was the best part.
That's the best part. You know, they just could have, you know, or also like, I don't know. It just could have ended. You know, think about it when you, I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home kind of had its cake and ate it too, in the sense that like the whole thing is trying to like not defeat the villain so much as like cure them and then set the universe right. So I don't know. Max Fossberg says Pattinson was one character the whole time, didn't play the multiple versions of Bruce Batman, felt flat to me. Max, I hear what you're saying, but I think we talked about this earlier. He's kind of like, there is no Bruce Wayne, meaning like when Batman is not in the costume, he's just still Batman. He just isn't wearing the costume. He isn't wearing the armor, right?
Yeah, and that point's made throughout the whole film of, wow, Bruce Wayne just appeared out of nowhere now, and you know he's more or less he's using Bruce Wayne as a alter ego to get what he needs.
He can get Bruce Wayne can get in the VIP. Is kind of what and Piers Bronson says 7 traumatized me when I was like 10 in the theaters. The ending, I feel like
you never saw what was in the box.
I never saw what was in but what I think about a different version of what this movie could have been. What could the Batman have been if it had ended not with a big explosive thing, but with kind of a haunting, you know, foiling the Riddler's plan up until the end, but still just having survived this darkness, right? Like I really have a huge problem with the second half of the movie. The more I think about it, the more I dislike it, which is so, but Piers Bronson, I agree with you. Like that movie, there's a reason certain movies resonate and defy the era in which they're made. I think part of it is that they try to ignore what's in the zeitgeist. There's sort of a more lizard brain zeitgeist of like storytelling in our brains that like we respond to. That's why the original Star Wars, or at least the original trilogy, continues to resonate to today, and why people are so upset that the sequel trilogy like undid all the good of that original trilogy. I know We're not going to do it.
I know.
I know.
Okay, no more Star Wars.
No more Star Wars. I love how the 7 script was known as the "What's in the Box" movie, says Fletcher Williams. So, boy, the comments here. Rolex 79 Ilu says, how many superhero movies fall apart in the last act? Matt Reeves was quoted as saying he had carte blanche. I doubt this. Don't think it's entirely his movie he intended to make. I agree. I don't think that. I think that it appears as if the way the movie was going was that it was going to end in kind of this dark, like not like a triumphant, like, yay, Batman saved the day. It's like, save the day at what cost? Like, reveal the fact that the city is incredibly corrupt, including his family is corrupt. He's revealed that. Like, this is why my colleague Eric Weber at Awards Ace said, someone said this movie's going to be controversial among fans. And I think that's the conversation we'll be having more on Friday and this weekend. This is going to be a controversial among longtime fans of the Batman comics, Batman movies. And there's never been a darker Batman. I mean, there's moments of levity and fun and kind of, don't want to say winks to the camera necessarily in the Nolan Batman movies. There's always, just go back when you watch the Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. There's always a moment where there's a nod to a kid, from Bruce Wayne or Batman to a kid. Mm-hmm. It's a small moment. I think in the first movie, is it the actor who plays Joffrey in Game of Thrones is in it, and as a little kid. You go back and watch it. Yeah. It's always like a thing of like, hey, kiddo, I'm your hero. And then Tree Rock Creations asks, does the Batman have a scene like the Phantom Menace Force explanation scene that conflicts lore and divides the audience? I would say, yeah, when kind of in the sense of like what the legacy of the Wayne family is, and kind of in a somewhat changed version of the origin of Batman. So while this isn't a Batman origin story, what it is it does kind of change something about the Wayne family's past that changes how Bruce Wayne looks at his family. And I think that that's going to be controversial. And
do you think it will divide the fan base like Star Wars divided the
it's not going to divide the fan base. I'm pretty sure everybody's not going to like it. Yeah. There's no way I can look at you and say that was a good change. It was completely unnecessary. Mm-hmm. It's out of left field and it's meaningless. And then it's sort of half undone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I think they could have, if they kept Selina Kyle's origin a secret, they could have done something with it in the sequel, something really interesting with it.
Yeah, I think why the mixed reviews, asks Tree Rock Creations, for what we're talking about. I think almost at least everyone that I've discussed this with so far, not everybody's seen it. So, but it's first half flawless, second half it falls
takes
off,
a wrong turn.
Takes a wrong turn and falls off a cliff. Rolex 79 Ilus. I'm sorry. Says the script had 3 different endings. It's almost like they used all 3 and mixed them.
Are you saying COVID killed this movie? Is that what?
I do think that like having time to take a step back and reflect didn't make the movie better. Yeah. Like famously, Christopher Nolan, when he wrote the script for The Dark Knight, I believe with his brother, Jonathan, they just pretty much, that was the shooting script. They wrote it and didn't change much. Mm-hmm. It's one of those sort of magical, they kind of just like all the elements kind of fit. And of course, that's Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker is just so.
Yeah. I mean, I always feel like wokeness infects good storytelling. It's like you have a good story, but now we need to infect it with something unnecessary.
Right. Well, we're going to have on actually next week, Christian Toto.
Yeah.
The author of the book, God, what's the name
of it?
Virtue Bombs. And it's about how wokeness is killing Hollywood. So Christian Toto is going to be a guest on our next Hollywood on the Rocks. next week at an earlier time. It'll probably be in the
morning,
early evening, depending on where you are. Would talk more about Batman, but haven't seen it. Piers Bronson.
Yeah. See it and join us Friday.
Here we go. Patrick Lemire says, stupid question. Is the Todd Phillips Joker part of this universe potentially? Okay. Do you want to know the answer to this question? Do you want to know the answer? It's implied. It doesn't directly, but like timeline, it kind of lines up. Now,
but I think a certain moment would say no.
I don't know. Things are left a little ambiguous. I feel like
yeah. I mean, for that moment, that's clearly not what the Todd Phillips movie was. I'm trying to be super vague here.
Right. Oh yeah, and then also Satyam Kumar asks Barry.
I didn't even know he was in the movie. What's
so funny is I saw the credits and I'm like, he was in the movie?
I know. And I looked it up on IMDb and I'm still like, I don't know what character he was.
He may have been one of the thugs, right?
No, I think he was one of the cops.
One of the cops? Oh, okay.
I think so. One of the corrupt ones, at least.
We should.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Piers Bronson, totally off topic. Piers Bronson asks, speaking of fan-made cut, what's your favorite Dune 84 cut? Is it worth it to watch the super extended one with the deleted scenes? Kind of off topic. Yes, there's one on 4K, and it's I think it's in my watch history on YouTube. So I'll have to look it up. Maybe if you I don't know, if you message me, go to filmthreat.com and you can click on contact, message me. I'll send you the link to it. There's a new version that's 4K. It's on YouTube. I don't know how it's on YouTube, and it's the extended. It's where I do have the Japanese Laserdisc of it. I know. What can I say? I don't have a Laserdisc player. Why did I hold on to it? It's from Japan.
Okay, so Barry Keoghan was a cop.
So he was a cop. There's just
I'm not sure which one though.
Yeah, I mean, there's like piles of makeup on people. They really like.
Yeah, I mean, Colin Farrell is unrecognizable in this movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, but if you message me, I will look that up for you, and I'll just email you back. But yeah, they're saying Barry was the cameo character at the in the Arkham cell next to the Riddler. That was Barry? Really?
Was it? Well, yeah, I mean,
did it say he was a cop though when you looked up on IMDb?
Yeah, I'll give you the name of the character. Sorry, it's
and to answer Satyam Kumar's question, do we get any signs of a next villain in this film? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
And you can guess.
Yeah.
Guess. We'll all have a laugh about it.
The character's name was Officer Stanley Merkel. You remember?
Well, that's what they're saying. And maybe that was also like, look, IMDb can lie to you, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, I mean, there's certain cameos. Yeah. But
it was such an inconsequential cameo at that point then.
Yeah, Rabbi Steve makes a good point here. I want to say it's what I call, and now a word from our sponsor, not a total SJW woke virtual signaling, just like they had something that was going one direction, then they just lost their nerve. It just, it did really, like, I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it. The movie takes a turn in the very middle. And then it's like, all I can say is this: if you're looking for a place to go to the bathroom, it's right after this line.
Or actually, go to the bathroom during the line, and it won't bother you.
If you go to the bathroom during the line, the movie's even better.
Yeah.
Oh my god! But yeah, at this point, I will say this: if you want to go, we're going to be wrapping this up shortly because we've gone over an hour and a half. But I will say this: stay off social media if you want to be completely spoiler free. What I'm really curious about is what people start talking about on social media over the weekend and what the conversation's going to be like. I will say this: you cannot say that Matt Reeves stuck the landing. In my opinion, he did not. He had a vision for this movie. And when you think about like the great noir movie, the great noir like movies, they don't end in giant explosions with tons of people in peril and then something out of a first responders hero movie, which is kind of where this goes.
Yeah, it ends with a broken character, broken protagonist, and
right. And it's, I do like that. I mean, we are talking about like the negative aspects of it. There are plenty of positive aspects of it. One of the things I do like is that Batman gets the shit kicked out of him a lot.
Yeah.
Bad things happen, like falling from places or things not completely working, or like kind of like I would almost compare it to Indiana Jones in the original Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, he gets the shit kicked.
Yeah.
I mean,
he saves the day tied up to a pole.
So. Yeah, he saves the day tied up to a pole with his eyes closed, but like, which is powerful. So I kind of feel like Matt Reeves and the studio kind of didn't have faith in that the audience wouldn't go for a spectacle ending. The problem with it is spectacle ending is not a part of the genre. Spectacle ending is not a part of a film noir genre. It just isn't.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why we like independent film, because it frees creators up to tell bold stories and no one's there to tell them it's not going to work.
Right. Well, look, we still have we don't normally get 50 plus people watching our live streams. So I want to thank everyone in the chat for sticking with us for most of this conversation. We will be continuing the conversation in our Friday live stream for the Film Threat podcast. So I know we're going to have more comments
too.
What's that? Yeah. So we'll continue this conversation on Friday. Before we let you all go, please like this video. If you like what we do, share, subscribe to the channel. And we're going to be doing our Friday live streams and our evening show, Hollywood on the Rocks, where we'll have special guests. So I really wanted to come on here and gush for 3 hours about how great this movie was. And I am not doing that. Now, it's not, look, this is not here's the deal. The first probably hour and a half of this movie is flawless. It's a 10 out of 10. And then that last hour and a half, second half, I'm curious. I'm really curious what other issues people are going to have. So there you go. We're wrapping it up. I am Chris Gore from Film Threat, and
I'm Alan from Film Threat.
You're Alan Ing. Come on.
Yes, Alan Ing. Oh,
where can people find you on social media if they want?
Yes, I'm at Twitter at mypal and Arthur Farty on TikTok.
Wait, Arthur Farty for real?
Yeah, it's a long story.
All right. There you go. Well, I am that Chris Gore on Twitter and Instagram, on the social medias. So look me up. We're Film Threat on everything. So Instagram, the Twitter, and all that stuff. So follow that if you do not already. I really appreciate all your. Wait, Eric K, should I make you a mod? I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah.
Eric K, we follow each other on Twitter. DM me, will you? I don't know how to make people. I don't know how to.
Well, I don't think you can do it on StreamYard. The only way to do that is to get access.
We can do it on Stream. I mean, maybe on I don't know. Eric K, message me. And I thank you for that. And I thank everyone here in the chat. You have made this a fun conversation. I'm not like, it's weird. I mean, I'm not like, look, there are movies I've seen where I just like was devastated, right? Like to me, The Rise of Skywalker might be the most angry I've been at just like destroying a film franchise, a beloved film franchise, Star Wars, right? I remember being puzzled and upset about Star Wars Episode 1, although the prequels have come to age much better. Like I look back on the prequels now with fondness, in particular Star Wars Episode 1. But this movie, I'm in kind of two minds about it. I'm like, phenomenal.
I mean, I think you came in, first half perfect, and it brought it down to good, which that's a steep dive, but it's still ultimately a good movie.
Yeah, again, for me, it's sort of a 7. I got to settle on a 7 only because the first half was just so perfect, and then I really feel that like where they decided to go with the ending betrayed the genre that they were solidly embedded in. They were solidly in like noir. This is a film noir detective story. And then they're like, nah, forget that. This is
it's a Batman movie.
Here's some sort of like, we're going to throw on a little woke seasoning. I know you didn't ask for that, but here it is. It's like putting garlic on ice cream. It just doesn't match. And then, by the way, it's going to explode in your face at the end. So there you are. It's like, wait, what? So yeah. So I don't know. We hope you join us for our Friday live stream. We've got a special guest film director on there, which you're going to love. We've got, we're also going to be talking about some other indie movies that are opening up. Alan and I will be talking about a couple of other films that maybe aren't opening for a few weeks. So come and join us. And there you go. Wait, Eric K says, go to Gilroy. You can get garlic ice cream. There's a garlic festival.
It's Gilroy. He means Gilroy.
Gilroy. Yes, I've heard of that garlic festival. I don't like garlic. I will specifically. I don't like garlic.
I love garlic.
I do not like garlic. I don't like garlic. There you go. But it's just, to me, wokeness is always sort of like, here's the thing you didn't ask for and doesn't match what the movie is, but we're throwing it in anyways, and we don't care about you, the audience. What?
And we have a super chat, by the way.
Oh, yes. Let me get to that. Rabbi Steve, just for $1.99 super chat, says thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Steve, and thank you for all your great comments throughout. Thank you for everybody's comments throughout. And if you are listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, because we do put out an audio version of this, you are missing out on our live streams on YouTube. So if you're listening to this, I hope you got something out of it. But I will say, join us on our live streams here. Alan and I are having fun just talking to other nerdy fans about everything. So there you go. Thank you so much. Join us again on Friday.
I'm trying to movie and then join us Friday.
See the movie, because I would really like to we'll just be full spoiler from the top on Friday. We'll give a warning about it. We are going to go full spoiler at the beginning. So there you go. But talk to you Friday. Thank you so much. It's been great, spending time with you. Later.